So now it's time for our Wednesday draft. MVP candidates. Very simple, but very complicated. There's a lot of guys out there. How do we rank them? We're going to draft them one after another. Chris, I guess you have the trivia question.
I do. Here we go. Cordell Patterson, as you know, he returned a kickoff return for a touchdown last week against the New Orleans Saints. It was his 7th career kickoff return for a TD. Only 2 players in NFL history have returned more kickoffs for touchdowns than Cordell Patterson. Who are they, Mike Florio?
I have to name both of them?
No, just one.
It's not just name one?
One's good.
Devin Hester.
Yep.
Really?
Sorry. Leon Washington or Josh Cribbs. Okay. I know.
Listen, these questions are bullcrap.
Right.
All right. When it's the question for me, and I'm talking to you in the control room, and you know who specifically I'm talking to in the control room, quit giving me the hard questions. How am I supposed to know Leon Washington? Are you kidding me? The guy hasn't played in 15 years.
What about
All right, make the first pick.
He was legitimately angry
Josh Cribbs.
at you, Stats.
I mean,
he was legitimately angry.
But really, that is such an esoteric question with no obvious hook. I mean, come on. How do you expect me to know that off the top of my head, Stats?
Well, maybe
you should
just read the history books. I would have got it right. I knew both of them. So, I mean.
Sure you would have. All right, go ahead.
Oh, thy Aaron Rodgers, you will be my first pick today in this draft. Yes, I'm going with Aaron Rodgers. This is a close one here at the top of the list right now, but I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers because I think he personifies MVP to what we've seen at this point. Yeah, I don't think they're sitting here at 6-1 unless they have Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. One, his ability to kind of just make a few plays early on when the offense wasn't very good, even though the stats weren't good. You know, it was a handful of plays that got them over the edge in all those games, and now we've seen the offense and him all kind of cohesively come together, and without big-time talent and a lot of receivers that most people can't name, I mean, he's starting to put on a show on a weekly basis now. And this just shows you when Aaron Rodgers has a system, which he has not had the last few years, how dangerous he can be no matter who's playing around him. But I think right now, yes, Aaron Rodgers would be my leader in the clubhouse as far as the MVP race is concerned, but very, very close with some other guys.
Here's the thing, though. I made the argument last week for the first time that Aaron Rodgers should get MVP consideration. People thought I was crazy. What has 1 week changed?
I was in that I was with you in that. I was so proud of you that you made it a public thing, because I think within you making it a public thing, there was a lot of people in the football world that were thinking that, but I think you made it and unleashed it to the masses, and then people got to see again what he did on Sunday, and I think it helped everybody connect more dots to go, you know what? It has been pretty damn good, despite maybe the stats haven't been, amazing. So thank you for doing that for me and for Aaron. That's very nice of you.
The stats were definitely there on Sunday, career game.
Yeah.
And it feels weird saying that, but career game literally for Aaron Rodgers. All right, you're going to give me Lamar Jackson. I'm going to take Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
He's at the top of the stack right now. He out-Russell Wilson in his own home. I mean, Russell Wilson was the top guy last week. Lamar Jackson came in and took it from him. And look, the passing numbers on Sunday weren't spectacular, but for this season, he's averaging 235 passing yards per game. That's more than guys like Jacoby Brissett and Jimmy Garoppolo. And he's sixth in rushing. Sixth in rushing in the entire National Football League. A great two-way threat. He's becoming the guy that he was at Louisville when he won the Heisman. And actually, he was better the year after he won the Heisman at Louisville. The team just wasn't very good, so he didn't get real consideration. But this is a special year so far for Lamar Jackson. My concern is, can he stay healthy? If he can stay healthy and if he can keep this up and the Ravens can continue to run the AFC North, he's going to be getting votes when MVP time comes around.
Yes, this is who I struggled with. It would have been him or Rodgers, I think, right now, or maybe the next guy I'm going to pick. But I do think that, again, Lamar Jackson, he is the MVP of that team and certainly in the running for everything he's doing for that team and making them relevant. And his skill set is special, and he's explosive. And, man, he's one of the most dangerous runners in football in the open field. Okay, I go to my next guy. I'm going to the guy you just talked about. I mean, yeah, Baltimore out Seattle in Seattle, and you don't see that a whole lot, okay? That's the saying. That's how you go it right there. But Russell Wilson, will be my next pick. Still, Russell Wilson has a phenomenal year. Yes, last week was bad. I get it. It wasn't perfect. He made it through a big pick six and a big moment that certainly swung the pendulum to the favor of the Baltimore Ravens. Like how I used that word correctly there. But Russell Wilson, I think, again, just like the other two guys we've talked about, is one of the few guys in football that could really make it work up there in Seattle. Yes, they run the football well, but their defense isn't as great as it's been in years past. They let up big plays, and their offense is one that I don't look at the passing offense and go, oh, wow, this is some of the most game-breaking passing schemes I've ever seen. They have a little bit of everything, but they're not exactly blowing my mind with imagination. A lot of it happens because of Russell Wilson's ability to extend plays like we're watching here, or make unbelievable runs or throws. I mean, that's one of the damnedest throws we've seen ever. I mean, that was unreal. So Russell Wilson will be my second pick.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick by you, although he lost some of that luster
he lost some
last
steam.
week.
He did, yes.
That pick six hurts, and he had those great numbers. His passer rating actually fell below Kirk Cousins after that performance on Sunday, where his passer rating went from the 120s down into the 1-teens because he had a 65, but still, he's in the conversation. I'm going to go Christian McCaffrey here. I'm torn between him and Deshaun Watson, and if the Texans had beaten the Colts on Sunday, I would have gone Deshaun Watson. I'm going Christian McCaffrey. He's not still on pace to set the single-season yards from scrimmage record. He's a little bit off of it. He's had that bye week, so we've kind of forgotten about him a little bit. But he is the MVP of the Panthers right now, and he could be the MVP of the league if they keep pushing in the direction that they are going and they keep winning games without Cam Newton. You have to take Christian McCaffrey seriously. The key for him, just like with Lamar Jackson, staying healthy, because he is reckless with his body. He stays away from big injury, but, man, he's just looked banged up in a few games, but he finds a way to keep going. And if he keeps going and plays all 16 games, he's going to have some eye-popping numbers that are going to put him into consideration. At a minimum, Offensive Player of the Year may be the thing that he walks away with, but he still could get MVP.
Yes. Unlikely, but again, I think is in this conversation for sure. I mean, it's a team that lost their franchise quarterback, and that put the focus on him, and more of the plays as far as schematics and the run game and pass game are centered around him. And he's delivered and play amazing, and of course they're playing amazing too. So it's hard not to pick him here. Okay, I hear you there. I'm gonna make a case for another guy because I'm not gonna pick Mahomes. Okay, I'm gonna just throw these. Jacoby Brissett. I think I've tossed around his name in my head here. I also thought about Kirk Cousins a little because he's kind of been on fire lately, and I know it doesn't sound cool, but I think ultimately what made me when I stopped, I said, okay, no, it can't be Kirk Cousins. Got to go Dalvin Cook, and I'm going to go Dalvin Cook as my last pick. I think he deserves to be in this conversation. First off, he's leading the NFL in rushing. He's got 107 more yards than Christian McCaffrey, and I know that McCaffrey had the bye week last week, but just like McCaffrey and the success the Panthers are having, the Minnesota Vikings are not who they are unless they have Dalvin Cook and his big play explosive ability running the football. And McCaffrey gets a lot of talk about his dual threat ability with catching the ball too. Dalvin Cook is no slouch in the passing game. I mean, he's got 20 receptions on the air, 24 receptions, for 220 yards. So he's like 115 or 100 yards away and receiving yards behind a guy like McCaffrey. But I think this is one of the best players in all of football. And he's certainly in the conversation for the best running back in football and really the center point for a team that's really good in the NFC.
Well, and, you make a great point because one of the reasons Kirk Cousins is playing so well is because he's setting up that play-action bootleg to the left because everybody is obsessed with stopping Dalvin Cook.
Exactly.
And Dalvin Cook, in that respect, has more value. It's just someone else gets the statistical benefit of the play where you don't even touch the ball, but your presence and the fear of what you could have done with the ball opens up a 70-yard play down the field.
That's right.
That is value.
Yes.
Now, here's the thing.
Yes.
That's going to be lost on the group of 50 voters, and don't get me started on that, but that's going to be lost on enough of them that he won't get votes, but that is real value. Here's mine, and let me go behind the curtain and tell you how this came to be. I wrote an item on Monday trying to exhaust all the potential candidates, the leading contenders, fringe candidates, and the long shots, and I published it. And within 5 minutes, I heard from someone who is very connected, very in the know, and said, you left a guy out that you should have put on there. And you know what? I was right. I was wrong, and I added the guy after the fact, just a few minutes after the column went live. There's never been a receiver to win the MVP award in the history. A kicker has won, defensive players have won, but never a receiver. And here's why. Because the guy throwing the ball to the receiver is the guy who's going to get the credit when the receiver has the big year. This year, Michael Thomas is having the big year for New Orleans, but there's no one quarterback that's going to be able to claim credit for it because it's Drew Brees, then it's Teddy Bridgewater, then it's going to be Drew Brees again. And think about this. Thomas is leading the league in receptions and yardage with Teddy Bridgewater starting the last 5 games. No knock on Teddy Bridgewater, but the fact that because when Drew Brees got hurt, it's like, well, they wasted all that money on Michael Thomas, and now they're not going to get the most out of him. Oh, they still have. And this Saints team, you got to have somebody on that Saints team that stands out, and Thomas stands out. And look, it's a tough case to make, but I think he needs to be on that list, and I think more people need to be thinking about Michael Thomas as an MVP candidate.
I'm not going to argue with you there. He was on my list of guys. He was a little farther down, but I wrote his name down. I hear you. He's the focal point of that offense, and especially the drop-back pass game. Everything is usually designed for Michael Thomas and for him to deliver, whether it's man or zone. So I think that's one of the unique things about the MVP thing right now this year, where you got the Saints, the 49ers, and the Patriots. I think most people would agree those are the 3 best teams in football. They're winning with team. There is not just that clear-cut guy. And Michael Thomas does deserve to be in the conversation. You're right, but I just think it's an interesting aspect that's a little different than years past.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.